it's a way of life. It's a way of life that, from the previous experience of life itself, it was all about the me thing. So whānau ora reignited a new turnaround, I suppose, and reassured me that the path that to wellness in terms of me or myself, in terms of my whānau.
Never forget to share the love. Yeah. I think once you feel that first, then it easily spreads over the crowds.
Cool. So currently we've got a policy opportunity that's part of whānau ora. Things change over time, but I think there'll always be a foundation for some new things that have happened out of this, that we're building on, and that people will be able to look back at some of the learning that goes on during this period as really quite pivotal and quite important for them. So yeah, I'm heartened, I'm quite excited. It makes a lot of the work that I think probably I do, or the people like I do, that seems quite distant from the actual whānau end. It's wonderful to be able to see some worth and say, okay, we're part of helping to create the sorts of structures and experiences that will bring whānau together, to identify their own issues and to look for their own solutions. And that's a big part of what we're trying to work to. So we've seen some captivating stuff around path planning. Seen people getting excited to go into workshop rooms to talk about things like visual reporting. Wow. So people understand the accountability aspects. And we've got some real leadership in the whare today. And we've got younger people here too. And for me, that's really awesome. We need to have some succession planning. We need to have the innovation and the freshness that young people will bring to the mahi.
It's safe to say that many whānau, as we move from grievance mode, i.e. te trincha waitangi, we're moving out of grievance mode and we're moving into development mode. Each whānau has different aspirations. Ne? Some are economic, some are cultural, some are whakapapa, some are social issues, whanaungatanga for example. So I say to each whānau, every approach, every plan you're putting together is valid.
Reminding not only all of our providers that about our collaboration, how we work together, and just still building on that trust between organisations, because that's a biggie really, is that trust in those relationships. We've done well over the last few years, but there's still work to be done on that, and I think that's ongoing.
It's really exciting to think that whānau do have their own solutions, and all we do is we support how that's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and make it happen.
The two significant traditional leadership terms were the rangatira and the tohunga. And there's others, but just pick on those two because they're the ones that dominate our mind sometimes. Historically speaking, it's clear that every generation has to produce its own rangatira and tohunga. And therefore the context of that new generation is what drives it, not how they used to do it in the 18th century and you try to reproduce it. You can't. So that's what I was referring to as creating the mana, the tapu, the mauri things that yet to be created. And I think that therefore Māori leadership embedded around, say, the tohunga and the rangatiras, and because of the complexity of society today and the world we live in, as compared to Māori life of the 18th century, 19th century, the fact that there are no more Māori alive today than any other time in our history. When you see our tribal system struggling to cope with the numbers, there's going to be 1 million of us in the next 30 years. You know, so I flippantly say to a lot of whānau ora groups, if you think you've got some social problems, you want to see one's coming up.